This is the Gcse Maths 2020 Paper 2 higher tier, and let's start. Question 1a, write 84 as a product of its prime factors. Okay, this is pretty simple. So we have 84, and now we're going to break it down into its multiples. So 84 is 2 times 42, and 42 is 2 times 21, and 21 is 3 times 7. Okay, so we have 2 times 3 times 7. So if we write that as powers, we have 2 squared times 3 times 7. Okay, find the lowest common multiple of 60 and 84. Now 60 is equal to 2 squared times 3 times 5. Okay, and we know that 84 is 2 squared times 3 times 7. So the LCM is equal to 2 squared times 3 times 5 times 7. Okay, so this is 420. Okay, moving on. Question 2. Complete the Venn diagram for this information. Okay, so the even numbers that we have are 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. And factors of 10 are 1, 2, 5, and 10. So we can see that 2 and 10 are within the intersection. Okay, 4, 6, and 8 are in A, and 1 and 5 are in B, which leaves us with 3, 7, and 9. Okay, part B. A number is chosen at random from the universal set. Find the probability that this number is in the set A intersect B. Well, we know that there are 2 numbers in the intersection, and there's 10 numbers in total. So it will be 2 over 10, which is 0.2. Okay. Question 3. Carlo puts tins into small boxes and into large boxes. He puts 6 tins into each small box, and he puts 20 tins into each large box. Carlo puts a total of 3,000 tins into the boxes so that the number of tins in small boxes to the number of tins in large boxes is 2:3. Carlo says that less than 30% of boxes filled with tins are large boxes. Is Carlo correct? You must show all your working. Okay, so there are 3,000 tins, and we're given the ratio. Okay, so 2:3. So for number of tins in small boxes will be 3,000 over 5 times 2, which is equal to 1,200. So the number is 1,200 to 1,800. Okay, so for small boxes, we can calculate the number by doing 1,200 divided by 6, because we know that there are 6 tins in each small box. So the number of small boxes is 200. Okay, number of small boxes. And 1,800 over 20, which is 90 large. Okay, so now we have to see if the number of large boxes as a percentage is less than 30%. We have to check if that's true or not. So we're going to do 90 over 290 multiplied by 100, which gives us approximately 31%. So we can say that, or if I want to write decimal places, it's 31.034%. So no, he isn't correct. Okay, done. Now, question 4. Part A, complete the table of values for y equals 5 minus x cubed. Okay, so you can just use a calculator for this, and you can fill in the values. Okay. So your value should be 13, 5, 4, and minus 3. Part B, on the grid below, draw the graph of y equals 5 minus x cubed for values of x from minus 2 up to 2. So at minus 2, it's at 13, which is here. At minus 1, it's at 6. Okay. At 0, it's at 5. At 1, that's at the point 4. And at 2, it's at the point -3. So our graph will look something like this. Maybe the last part can be improved. So I would try and make sure I'm doing this properly. So I go through all the points carefully. And okay, yeah, done. Question 5. Work out the value of x. So this is the hypotenuse and the opposite side. So if you can't immediately tell what trig we're going to use, you can write down SOHCAHTOA. Okay, that's always helpful. So now you can see we have the opposite and hypotenuse, so we're going to use sine. So the sine of 34 is equal to x over 178. So x is equal to 178 times sine of 34, which is 99.5 centimeters. Okay. Question 6. Given A is 3, 4, and B is the vector 5 minus 2, find 2A minus 3B as a column vector. Okay, again, simple to do. We just have to write it as a column vector. So first, I'm going to do 2 times A, which is 6, 8, and minus 3B is equal to minus 3 times 5 minus 2, which is minus 15, 6, and 2A minus 3B is 6, 8 plus minus 15 and 6. So we will have minus 9 and 14. Okay, question 7. The diagram shows a right-angled triangle and a quarter circle. The right-angled triangle ABC has angle ABC as 90 degrees. The quarter circle has center C and radius CB. Work out the area of the quarter circle. Give your answer to 3 significant figures. You must show all your working. Okay. So we need to figure out first what the radius is. So R. So R is the square root of 9 squared minus 6 squared, which is equal to the square root of 81 minus 36, which is 3 root 5. Okay, so now we know that CB is 3 root 5. Okay, but we have a quarter circle. Okay, so we're going to work out the area of the quarter circle. So here's what we can do. So usually the area is pi r squared. But because we have a quarter circle, we have to divide it by 4. So it's 45 pi over 4, which is, if we evaluate using a calculator, is 35.3 meters cubed. Okay. Question 8. Tariq buys a laptop. He gets a discount of 5% off the normal price. Tariq pays £551 for the laptop. Work out the normal price of the laptop. Okay, so he gets 5% off, so he's paying 95% of the price. So you can write 0.95 times x is 551. So x must be 551 over 0.95. Use the calculator to do it, and you will get 580. Okay. Part B. Joanne invests £6,000 in a savings account. The savings account pays compound interest at a rate of 2.4% for the first year and 1.7% for each extra year. Work out the value of Joanne's investment at the end of 3 years. Okay, so simple. First, we work out the value of her investment after 1 year. So the method to do that is we do 6,000 multiplied by 1 plus 0.024. Okay, let me just calculate this. So that is 6,144. So 3 years total, right? So after 3 years, if you want to work out the value, here's what we do. So we take 6,144 and we multiply it by 1 plus, now this time it's 1.7%. Okay, so it's 0.017 and the power of 2, because it's 2 for 2 years. So let me calculate the value of this, and it's 6,354.671616. So it is £6,354 and 67 pence. Okay, question 9. Excuse me. Aisha recorded the heights in centimeters of some girls. She used her results to work out information in this table. Aisha drew this box plot for the information in the table. Box plot is not fully correct. Write down the 2 things Aisha should do to make the box plot fully correct. Okay. So as you can see, yeah, so you can see that our upper quartile is meant to be 171. But on this diagram, we can see it's 172. So you can see that's incorrect. So we should say the upper quartile should be 171 and not 172. Okay, and we can also see that the median, in this case, she's marked it at 161, but it should be 162. Okay, that's the two mistakes she's made. Again, it's a pretty simple question, so you really should be getting the marks on these. And yeah. Okay, question 10. Part A. Simplify 1 over m squared to the power of 0. Okay, now it's just going to be 1 because anything to the power of 0 is just 1. Part B. Simplify 8 times x minus 4 over x minus 4 squared. Now, if you can't see what the answer is straight away, maybe you want to do this step in between. So we can write 8 times x minus 4, and then the denominator is just x minus 4 times x minus 4. And you can see clearly that x minus 4 cancels out the top and bottom, and you're left with 8 over x minus 4. Okay. Part C, simplify 3n to the 4th power w squared, and then that whole thing to the power of 3. So that's just 3 cubed times n to the power of 4 times 3, and w to the power of 2 times 3. Now I'm writing these steps because you're not likely to make a mistake in an exam you are likely to make a mistake in the exam if you're not sure on indices rules. So that's why I'm writing it out. Sometimes people make mistakes and they actually write the power of, for example, n as 64 because they think it's 4 cubed as the power, but it's not. You're just multiplying the values. So in this case, you'll have n to the 12th power and w to the 6th. Okay. Question 11. Jack is in a restaurant. There are 5 starters, 8 main courses, and some desserts on the menu. Jack is going to choose 1 starter, 1 main course, and 1 dessert. He says there are 240 ways that he can choose his starter, his main course, and his dessert. Could he be correct? Well, it's 2 marks, pretty simple. So 5 times 8 times some value, I'm going to call it k, is 240. So which means that k is, well, 40 times k is 240. So k is 6. We can say yes if there are 6 desserts. And that is how you show that it is possible. Okay. Question 12. The graph gives information about the volume V liters of petrol in the tank of Jim's car after it has traveled a distance of d kilometers. Part A, to find the gradient of the graph. Okay, well, gradient is change in y over change in x. And that's pretty simple to work out. Well, we can see at this point it's 27 on this graph. And that goes to 0. So 0 minus 27 over 300 is minus 0.09. Okay, part B. Interpret what the gradient of the graph represents. Well, remember the gradient, what does it represent? Change in y over change in x. And we can basically say that for every kilometer, he uses 9 liters. For every kilometer, okay, I'm gonna write km. He uses 9 liters. Okay, now this question again is very common question that people ask in exams. And yeah. So you should practice these types of questions. Okay. Question 13. Here is a triangle ABC. Work out the length of AB. Okay. Well, you might be thinking, well, how am I going to do that? Well, it's pretty simple. We're going to use the sine rule. So first I'm going to work out which sides and angles I need. Okay, so I clearly need this missing angle. I'm going to call this x. So I'm going to say x is 180 minus 26 plus 34, which is equal to, well, 26 plus 34 is 40. Sorry, what am I saying? 26 plus 34 is 60. So x is 120 degrees. So now we know this is 120 degrees. We can use the sine rule. I'm going to call AB just AB. So AB over the opposite side sine angle, so that's sine 34, is equal to 23.8 over the sine of 120. Okay, now again, just use a calculator. So AB is equal to 23.8 over sine 120 multiplied by sine of 34. Okay, which is 15.36. And we're going to round that to 15.4. Cool. So it's 15.4 centimeters. Question 14, here are two squares, A and B. The length of each side of square B is 4 centimeters greater than the length of each side of square A, and the area of square B is 70 centimeters greater than the area of square A. Find the area of square B. Give your answer correct to 3 significant figures. You must show all your working. Okay. Well, let's just say A has length x, which means B has length x plus 4. Okay. So I'm going to say that A has side lengths x and B implies B length is x plus 4. Okay. And we are told that the area of square B is 70 centimeters greater than the area of square A. So let's use this information. So x squared plus 70 is equal to the area of B, which is x plus 4 squared. Okay. So now we can solve this. So x squared plus 70 is equal to x squared plus 8x plus 16. Now, obviously, you can see that the x squares cancel out, so we don't have to worry about any factorizing. And we now get that 8x is equal to 54. So x is 6.75. Okay, now this is the area of the side length of A. Okay, this is not the answer, which means that B side length is 10.74. So area is 10.75 squared. Now, if you just use a calculator to solve this, and you'll get 115.6. But if you want to round it to 3 significant figures, it will be 116. And that's your answer. Okay, question 15. Describe fully the single transformation that maps triangle A onto triangle B. Well, it is a enlargement. A, because it's been enlarged, but it's also been turn it around. So the scale factor isn't positive, it's negative. And the scale factor is, well, it's 1.5, but negative 1.5. Center is at 1. Okay, because you can see it's just this point over here. And you can confirm that. So it goes 2, 2. But from this point, it goes 3, and then 3. Okay. Question 16. Here are the first 5 terms of a quadratic sequence. Find an expression in terms of n for the nth term. Only a few questions left after that. Okay, so I'm going to write out my sequence. So 10, 21, 38, 61, and 90. So look at the first difference is 11 between the first 2 terms, 17, 23, and, well, 61 to 90 is 29. Second difference, well, 6, 6, 6. Okay, so we have 3n squared instead of just n squared. So 10, 21, 38, 61, and 90. So now we want to work out the nth term for the difference between these terms and 3n squared. So 3n squared for the first 5 numbers is, well, 1 squared is just 1, and 1 times 3 is 3. 2 squared is 4, and 4 times 3 is 12. 3 squared is 9, and 9 times 3 is 27. Okay, similarly, 4 squared is 16, and 16 times 3 is 48. And 5 squared times 3 is 75. So now we can work out the difference. So we get 7, 9, 11, 13, and 15. Now we can work out the nth term of this. Well, we have a difference of 2 every time. So we have 2n plus 5. So we will get 3n squared plus 2n plus 5. Okay. Question 17, write down the coordinates of the turning point of this graph. Well, the 12 becomes minus 12 and you have minus 7. Question 18, the diagram represents a solid cone. The cone has a base diameter of 20 centimeters and a slant height of 25 centimeters. A circle is drawn around the surface of the cone and a slant height of 10 centimeters above the base. The curved surface area of the cone above the circle is painted in gray. Work out the area of the curved surface of the cone that is not painted in gray. Okay, give your answer as a multiple of pi. Well, how would we do this? So we just have to figure out what the unpainted region is as a multiple of pi. So let's work out the curved surface area first. So we have pi times radius, which is 10, times 25. Okay, so that's 250 pi. And that's for the whole cone. And we want to figure out now what our curved surface area is of the shaded region. So shaded, and how do you calculate that? Well, again, it's just pi r L. But what is L? Well, L is just 15 in this case, because 25 minus 10. Now, what's the radius of this cone? Well, we can see by similar shapes, because the small shaded cone is similar to the large cone. Well, we can see that it's just going to be okay, let's do this. So I can say that but it's going to be, how am I going to think about this? But it's going to be, we can see that it's going to be 15 over 25 of 20, which is 12. It's a diameter. So 12 over 2, 6. So that's the radius of the shaded smaller cone. So we can do pi RL for that. So pi times r times 15 is 90 pi. So now we can just do 250 pi minus 90 pi, and the answer is 160 pi. Okay, so we basically just use the fact that these are the similar. So let me just draw like a diagram to show you what I mean. So we had one cone like this, which is 25 and 20. And now we wanted to figure out what the radius of the smaller cone was. Well, it doesn't really look smaller. 15 and x. So we did 15 over 25 multiplied by 20. Okay, anyway, question 19. A hot air balloon is descending. The height of the balloon n minutes after it starts to descend is hn meters. The height of the balloon n plus 1 minutes after it starts to descend, hn plus 1 meters, is given by hn plus 1 is k times hn plus 20, where k is a constant. Okay, the balloon starts to descend from a height of 1,200 meters at 9:15. At 9:16, the height of the balloon is 1,040 meters. Work out the height of the balloon at 9:18. Okay, so the first step we know is to find the value of k. So we know that at 9:16, it was 1,040, so that's our hn plus 1. And it's k times hn, and hn is the height at the start of descending, so that's 1,200 and plus 20. Well, I'm not going to show steps, but if you bring over the 20 to the other side, we get 1,020, and we can just do 1,020 over 1,200, and you get k is 0.85. Okay, so now we know at 9:16 it was 1,040. That's how we worked out the value of k using the two heights and times. So at 9:17, we can figure out what it is. We can do 0.85 times 1,040 plus 20, which is, well, what is that? Is 0.85 times 1,040 plus 20, well, 904 meters. And again, at 9:18, you can figure out what it is. So we can do 904 times 0.85 plus 20. Okay, so what is that? Let's see. 788.4. 788.4. And that's how you do this question. Okay. Question 20. There are only red sweets and yellow sweets in a bag. There are n red sweets in the bag. There are 8 yellow sweets in the bag. Sajid is going to take a random sweet from the bag and eat it. He says that the probability that the sweet is red is 7 over 10. Show why the probability cannot be 7 over 10. Okay. So let's see. N red sweets and 8 yellow. So plus n plus 8 sweets in total. Okay. So let's see. So let's say he takes a red sweet. What's the probability of a red sweet? Well, n over n plus 8. And let's see what happens if we set that equal to 7 over 10. Well, that's like saying 10n is 7n plus 56, which means n is 56 over 3. And this is not possible. You can't have 56 over 3 red sweets because n has to be an integer or a whole number. Okay. After Sajid has taken the sweet from the bag and eaten it, he is going to take at random a second sweet. Given that the probability that both sweets that he takes is red is 3 over 5, work out the number of red sweets. Okay, so the probability of getting a red the first time is n over n plus 8. And after he takes a red sweet, how many red sweets are left? Well, it's not n, but it's n minus 1. And the total number is n plus 7. And we know the probability is 3 over 5. Okay, so we have n squared minus n over n squared plus 15n plus 56 is 3 over 5. Okay, let's carry on with the calculation. So 5n squared minus 5n is equal to 3n squared plus 45n plus 168. I think 56 times 3, 112 plus 56. Yeah, 168. So 2n squared minus 50n minus 5 minus 45 is minus 50, I think. Yeah, minus 4, yeah. And minus 168 is equal to 0. So n squared minus 25n minus 84 is equal to 0. And now again, you can use a calculator to actually find the answer after you reach 2n squared minus 50n minus 168 is 0. You can just use a calculator, but I'm just going to factorize it just as practice. So it factorizes to n minus 28 and n plus 3. So 28 is the answer. So that's 28. Red. Okay. Question 21. The graph of the curve with the equation y equals f of x is shown on the grid. On the grid above, sketch the graph of the curve with the equation y equals f of minus x. Okay. Again, it's pretty simple. It looks something like this. It's not the best graph, but it'll do. Anyway. The curve C with equation y equals 5 plus 2x minus x squared is transformed by a translation to give curve S such that the point 1, 6 on C is mapped to the point 4, 6 on S. So you can see that it's translated by this vector because it's translated only on the x-axis. The x-axis is the only thing affected. But we know it's not x plus 3, it's x minus 3, because whatever happens, we do the opposite of that to represent it in a translation. So if it's translated to the right, in the brackets, instead of having x plus 3, which would intuitively be something you would say, because it's becoming more positive, but in the brackets, we don't write x plus 3, we write x minus 3. So 5 plus 2 times x minus 3 minus x minus 3 squared. Now, you don't have to actually evaluate this or anything, but you can if you want to. I'm going to do it. So we have 5 plus 2x minus 6 minus x squared minus 6x plus 9. So we have minus x squared, okay, and we have plus 8x, okay, and well, 5 minus 6 is minus 1, and minus 1 minus 9 is minus 10. So minus x squared plus 8x minus 10. Okay, last question. C is a circle with center origin. A tangent to C passes through the points -20, 0, and 0, 10. Work out an equation of C. You must show all your working. Well, you might think, how am I going to do this? It is pretty difficult. And you would be right. And there's a few ways of doing this question. There's a trigonometric way now, and the kind of Pythagorean geometric way. And it really depends which one you want to do in the exam. I personally think that, well, I just think that it's best to try whichever way you're more comfortable with, because you want to save time. But anyway, if you want to actually visualize the circle, okay, it'll probably look something like this. Now, we don't know what the radius is, so I'm not going to mark any points. But just as a visual, this is kind of what it looks like. Okay. And this is our tangent line. Hold on, let me draw it carefully. This is our tangent line. And we know that it goes through these points, -20 at point 10. And just as a visual, I'm going to show you that this is 90 degrees. And what else can I do? Well, okay. So we can work out the equation of the tangent easily. So we know that the gradient of the radius, okay, gradient of radius is equal to, well, it's a change in y but change in x. That's 10 over -20. Okay, or rather 10 over 20, because it's 0 minus -20, so 10 over 20. So that's half. So the gradient of tangent is -1 over half is -2. Hold on, let me simplify this. So gradient of tangent is, hold on, right, am I getting confused by what I'm saying? Maybe I am. Okay, no, I have a better way of doing this. So we know that x squared plus y squared is r squared. Okay, and the main thing is to work out the radius. So how are we going to work out the radius? I should have taken out my circle, but anyway. Let me draw it bigger. I'll draw a straight line. Oh, it's so frustrating, but let's take a visual. Do it properly. Okay. -20 and 10. Okay. So let's just say that this is your circle. Well, we know that a tangent will look like. Okay, great. No, again, maybe I should draw my tangent first. Yeah, maybe I should have done that first. You know what, guys? I don't like. It is what it is at this point. We have -20 and 10. Okay. And well, if I look at the coordinates, yeah, if I look at the coordinates, then I can do something like figure out that I'm going to figure out this height. H is the square root of 20 squared plus 10 squared, which is square root of 500, okay, which is 10 root 5. And I know that this is theta. So tan of tan over 20 inverse is equal to theta. So theta is equal to 26. Now, if I do trigonometrically, I have to use exact values. So the tan inverse of half is 26.565, 0.5118. Okay, so I have the value of theta. I know what the radius. Well, I can do that simply by doing r over 10 is equal to 20 over 10 root 5. Okay. Well, I don't know. That's if I did it geometrically, that's what I would get. But I can just use this triangle. So I have the opposite and I have 20. So I have the sine of this angle. Let me draw out the triangle again. Let me do it this way. So this is our radius, and this is our theta. And the hypotenuse is 20. So we know that sine of theta is equal to r over 20. So r is 20 sine theta. Okay, and now keeping the exact value, if I take sine of the angle and multiply it by 20, I get 8.944 27129 27191. So our radius squared is 80, which means that it's x squared plus y squared is equal to 80. Now this is doing it the trigonometric way, but if you wanted to do it using straight lines, I would suggest figuring out the equation of this line and then what am I saying? Then you would, well, you would have to figure out what the point is where the circle touches the tangent line. So like this coordinate, let's call it P, and it'll give you an idea of what the radius was. But anyway, we figured out the equation. Anyway, that's the end of my video, and hopefully I can upload paper 3 soon. But yeah.